my people that this road was made even before their time, and it served the people of Northwest Point and the people of West Bay Mean. And one of the things that used to happen, it was that they used to, when people died, particularly in the Northwest Point area, they took the bodies for burial to the West Bay Cemetery, and this road went up until it reached the West Bay Cemetery. But since that, a developer has put his house on that road, on that portion, and blocked it.
Okay.
And what remains here is from the gas station, just below the big new house that has just gone up there. And where they have actually taken in, people have used that portion of the road for centuries. So there has to be a clear understanding whether they could do what they did, whether they had approval or not. And if they didn't even have approval, the point is that portion of the road has been used by all West Bayers.
Right.
Right. So you can put
So at this point now, your concern is where they put their flower bed, not so much the wall per se, but where they're extending the flower bed area and the flower arrangement. They put up a big tree and all sorts of stuff. That's actually part of this Mary Molly Hydes Road.
No. Not the you talk about the flower bed in the back? Or?
No.
In the front, yeah. Because if you look at it, their wall is in the front, and the trees are extended outside of their wall.
Yeah, and there's still people who drive up and down this road.
Yeah, and still people who drive up around this road for the scenic view, because the big problem is that this is the only portion of it you can see the entire 7 Mile Beach since the closing of the West Bay Road. And I would suggest on a day when travel ships are in, you should see the tour operators how they actually bring the tourists here to get the view, because there's no way else. And perhaps I think you should speak to some of the tourist operators such as Levi's and other ones that are probably older than you. What do you think?
So the road actually now starts here.
Yeah, the road actually starts here.
Right, so it's called Mary Molly Hydes Road, and it runs behind. Those of you who are not terribly familiar with West Bay, this is the four-way stop.
Isn't this called the public square?
And this is the gas station here. So behind this now, this is where this road runs all the way to the other side, which we were earlier, where that house actually is. Now the interesting thing about this, like we said, there's 3 sleeping police on the end of this behind Alfresco's restaurant, which was actually put down by private citizens, we understand, which is unbelievable because, I mean, it's a public road. I can't just go on Linford Pearson Highway and decide I'm going to put down three sleeping police speed bumps. That would not be permissible. So although this is a smaller road to some extent, it shouldn't be permissible because all rules apply to all public roads. I mean, there's no difference, right? So trying to understand exactly what's potentially going on here. And there is an access point here, some steps and stuff, presumably for the public to still be able to access public beach property. So that's amazing. So we have Charles and David out here. Of course, you guys know them, staunch West Bayers, and they are very much concerned about a lot of things that they see happening in this country. And I called them earlier today when I heard about this situation. Charles, if this is true, right, and we're going to wait for an official response because, you know, government, everything they want to claim is fake news these days. So we'll give them every opportunity to respond to this and to advise where the boundaries are for that house. Because the landscaper, I just spoke to him, and he said that he was told by the homeowner that they have 5 feet out from the wall that belongs to them, which would seem crazy because 5 feet out from the wall would be in the public road.
It'd be in the public road. That'd be exactly in the public road.
And they own that little piece across the street as well. So maybe they're confused about how the laws work in this country and where their boundaries are.
Well, sadly, I don't think they're really confused. I mean, they're right on this. I mean, they're foreigners, and it seems that everybody can come to this country and nobody is held to the law but the indigenous population. You know what I mean? As long as you're a white foreigner, you come to this country, you can do anything you want. Do you think that you and I could have got approval to build that little house, build that big old house on that little piece of land, we wouldn't have gotten
No,
it.
I doubt that.
We would not have gotten approval for it. They would have
Yeah.
been, oh, it's going to be a harm to the business establishment
Right.
here, so forth and whatnot. But because they're foreigners, they're allowed to do as they
Yeah.
please.
And it's my understanding that one of our own politicians made it possible for that house. One of the West Bay politicians made it possible for that house to actually go up. So,
Well,
again, I have no confirmation of that, so I won't name him. But that is what the Mall Road is saying. And normally the Mall Road is spot on, is all I can tell you.
As I have said, Sandy, you know, our politicians, they bought and paid for. They're not working for us, you know. They all bought and paid for.
Yeah.
You think that all these things you hear them fighting about, ain't nothing to do with us. No.
Yeah.
It's all about self-interest and self-enrichment for them. That's what this is about.
Yeah. Well,
Let
You know,
this
me-
is,
we
let
look
me
at
interject there.
yes, Sandy, want to see something? Look
Whether
at
they owns that little point or not, the point
Yeah.
is the whole of West Bay for generation has used that road. So nevertheless, we have a prescriptive right over that as well,
yeah.
yeah, according to the law.
according to the law.
Right, for at least 200 years. Now, we see how prescriptive rights go based on the Mendoza situation. You know, where government gets all tied up by one man who is unemployed and has nothing better to do than to fight homeowners who've been there for almost 40 years.
Yeah,
So I don't know if a road being here for almost 200 years is going to make much of a difference.
yeah, yep.
It's a sad
But,
situation.
I mean, we look at the house right here. It's built directly in the ocean.
Yeah. Wow.
You know. I mean, look at that one, blocking up the beach. You can't get by there no more now.
It's crazy.
You know, it's just crazy what is taking place here. But our politicians are. Listen, here's the reality, Sandy, is that the people need to stop talking. We need to stop talking about the politicians. We need to hold the politicians personally accountable.
Yeah.
Until they are held personally accountable, nothing's going to change. We can elect a new government, do the same thing.
Right.
To do the same thing. They be bought and paid for the same very week.
Wow.
Look at that.
Oh my God. What
Look
the
at that.
hell?
In the ocean.
Now that is crazy.
And I heard that a local politician got that approved too.
Wow. We can only hope that Mother Nature takes care of that situation, because that's what you call building on
Yeah.
sand, quicksand kind of ground.
Look at that. You
That's
think,
just
you
crazy.
think one of us should have got that approval?
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, that's public beach, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
That's literally in the ocean. Look.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I've not seen anything like that in my life.
I mean, you know, it's funny you say that, but this is the last day where you actually come and see the public beach. I didn't think about that until just right now.
Yeah, as Liz pointed out, this is one of the last locations that you can come and see all of 7 Mile Beach because of what we have sold.
And think about
Out.
it. 7 Mile Beach is what we have sold to the world to come here and
Yeah.
enjoy. Now people are
And
coming.
there's only
you
one
can't see it.
location that you can see it in the district of West Bay. Absolutely unbelievable. Wow. Well, folks, we're going to get some additional information. Like I said, at this point, we have just been alerted to the situation today. We're trying to get some more details on what has transpired here and what the government, lands and surveying, planning, what they're prepared to do about this, and the politicians, if need be, need to let their voices be heard on this matter as well. So stay tuned. We're going to get some more details, some more information. We've got the land registry map that we're going to post up here shortly so that you guys can, again, just keep abreast of what is happening in your own communities. All right, folks, we got a call early this morning about some issues here in West Bay. We are right next to Al Fresco's restaurant. Don't know if you guys are familiar with this area, but there's a home. I was actually just admiring this home a couple days ago, quite ironically. It's a beautiful home, multi-million-dollar home, no doubt. And they had put up the house, and of course they put up their wall. And then I got a call this morning that they were encroaching on basically what is the oldest road in the district of West Bay, and it's called the Mary Molly Hydes Road. I've been told it's probably at least 200 years old, being the first road in the district of West Bay. And they've decided to put on the outside of their wall flowers, a nice flower bed, nicely decorated. But the issue is, it's actually in the road. So although this part of the road isn't paved, this is still considered public property and still consider the road. And funny enough, the sign is right there, and their flower bed actually is going to be encompassing the stake for the road sign. So we're just here trying to figure out precisely what is going on. But yeah, this is where we're at in West Bay, and then we also hear that they're encroaching on the beach side as well. So we're going to go and have a look and see why private landowners are being permitted to basically take over the government road. So their wall, this is my understanding, and again, if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, but these are West Bayers who are saying, hey, we know this road, we've traversed this road our entire lives, and their wall is where their property marker is, and that's the end of their property. And now they've decided to go a little bit further and to decorate and put a flower bed and trees into what is essentially the public road. And you know what happens if government does nothing about this? At some point it becomes an argument, and of course they will say that they own this and it's been there for 20 years, 30 years, whatever amount of time. The government might sit back and ignore this, and it's going to certainly be a problem. All right, folks, so this is Sandy Hill here in the beautiful district of West Bay, and we are at a location. This is a new house that is just being completed. It's a beautiful house. Actually, just a few days ago I was admiring the stone wall work on the exterior of this home, multi-million-dollar home, beachfront property. And then this morning I was a bit surprised to get a phone call to say some residents in West Bay needed me to come out to the location to have a look at a home that was encroaching on government property. And they gave the description of the home, and apparently what we have been told, and again we've looked at the boundary surveying maps and so on, we're no experts here, but this is what the residents, longtime residents of West Bay have said, is that this Mary Molly Hydes Road is the oldest road in the district of West Bay, could be at least a couple hundred years old, and these persons have decided to encroach on the property, or on the public road now, my apologies, with their flower beds and their trees. So essentially they're claiming this as part of their front yard, and that's a problem. So their boundary, it appears, goes right up to the wall, which is fine, but beyond the wall they have no jurisdiction, and they have started claiming that for landscaping purposes. And of course we don't want another Mendoza in our hands, where someone comes in, erects a fence, and then, you know, it's hell to try to get them to do the right thing thereafter. So if this is confirmed as an issue, we understand that Lands and Surveying has already been contacted about this, but the residents wanted to put it in the public view so that the relevant government departments will know that they're being scrutinized and that they need to rectify this, and have these homeowners pick up these trees and landscaping that they have already directed people to put on government property. And we do understand that there is a small portion of property across the street, which when they purchased this property, they actually purchased that with it. So this is one of the difficulties, folks. Sometimes when you purchase a property, you don't always know exactly what you own and what's going on, and that's why boundary surveying is so incredibly important. And you have to make sure, of course, no bank is going to give you a loan, and I know this from first-hand experience, without making sure that their interest is protected. And the only way their interest can be protected and there are no land disputes is for a proper boundary survey to be done. Now I'm sure with a home of this quality and of this magnitude, there's no doubt the boundary surveys were done, and these homeowners should know that their property might come to the wall, but no more. And again, despite the paved road being a little bit further over, we're told that this is actually part of their road. Now, part of the public road. Now, we have been informed by the persons doing the landscaping that the homeowners instructed them when they were doing the landscaping that from the wall 5 feet out is still their property, which is kind of interesting. because I don't really know 5 feet would take you right onto the public road. So that doesn't quite sound like that is accurate. But that's what they're telling the landscaping persons, and that's what they've told the team here so far. So we have a couple residents that are coming out to meet us, and we're going to get a better idea of exactly what is going on here and what their points of contentions are. But they did give us a call early this morning, and you can see the big rocks already going up to try to block access to what people are now saying is part of the public road. So we're going to get some additional information. Then we understand some activity is also going on the beach in terms of blocking that as well. So stay tuned, folks.